Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats have a tough non-conference schedule this season. We're going to run through some of the toughest games. That is the conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, publisher over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI. And ladies and gentlemen, he's back. Carson Nash is back in the US of A. Carson, how was Scotland? Everybody's been dying to hear about it. How was the trip?
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful trip. I'm so glad I got to go on it and experience it with the center football team. There was a bunch of cool stuff to do. We got to go Arthur's Seat. It's a big mountain there. We got to see some castles. We got to play a football game that we won by 70 points. So that was fun too. I guess the US of A just does it a little better. But it was a hell of a time over there, and I'm grateful that I got to go.
I think that you should have drank like 7 beers and gone and played for the other team. That's what you should have done.
I was talking about that at some points during the game, after the fifth double. It occurred to me that could be an option.
If they'd have had some pads, I would have said get out there and strap them up.
And I probably might have been the best player on the team.
Yeah, because I heard it was not great over there. But yeah, but we are glad to have you back, and it's good to hear that the trip was awesome. But Carson, I mean, this non-conference schedule for the Cats is incredibly challenging, and even these exhibition games. I mean, they won't be a part of our conversation today. But Purdue and Georgetown in Rupp Arena. I mean, Purdue's the projected number 1 team in college hoops. So I mean, you've got a great exhibition schedule, but you've also got a great non-conference schedule. So, Carson, we'll kind of run through some of the bigger games here, but what is like the number 1 game here on this list for you that you're going, man, that's going to be a tough one for the Cats?
Yeah, I mean, I look no further than St. John's and our old coach, Rick Pitino, right? Mm-hmm. I just think there's something there, coach versus former player. The St. John's has a heck of a roster this season with Ian Jackson and Bryce Hopkins added to that team. So I think they could make a run in the tournament as well as give us a run for our money.
Yeah. That game in Catlanta, Pope talked about it. He's going to have the suit game going. That's going to be a fun one. Obviously, I believe that we're all going to head down for that one. And it's going to be a game that's going to have a Final Four type of feel to it. It should be 2 top 10 teams. It's going to be a basketball game. And obviously there'll be the narratives there. There'll be the narratives of the coach versus the captain. We talked about it, but on top of the narratives, it's just going to be a darn good basketball game. So I'm with you, but Carson, I'll tell you this. And I wrote an article about this yesterday. I think that this Louisville game, and I hate to sit here and try and give Louisville credit. I don't ever want to do that. We've talked about it. We're Pat Kelsey fans. We like him. We're not Louisville fans, but we like Pat Kelsey. Think he's a good guy. I think he's a good coach. Think he did a heck of a job with his roster. He almost did as good of a job as Coach Pope did. We'll give him, pretty good job. But almost there. But seriously, they're going to be good, and you got to go to the KFC Yum Center and play this Louisville team. It'll be, as of right now on the schedule, this is the only true road game that we have. And it should stay that way unless something else comes up, because we should be playing the ACC SEC Challenge at home, knowing we went to Clemson last year whenever that announcement is made. But Carson, this is going to be a good basketball game. And obviously, I assume there'll be a lot of blue. You've been to a Kentucky-Louisville game in the Yum Center. I mean, what was it like the last time these two teams met a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was a little different than what Sananda Frew described it as, which Trey Mitchell allegedly told him that Louisville fans are better than Kentucky fans. It was all blue. I mean, the lower bowl had some red in it, but it was mostly blue. It was like a road. It was like
Vandy.
It was like Vandy. Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, it was like Vandy, where there's some home fans there, but it mostly blue. And so I think that's a little ridiculous, considering I live in the city of Louisville, and about 80% of the people here are Kentucky fans. So it'll be blue, and like it always is.
Well, I'll throw some numbers at you. And so I pulled these yesterday in the midst of this argument. So, the capacity of the KSC Yum Center is large. So it's not like
very nice arena too.
Yes, it's a great arena, good concert venue. It's good stuff there. It's just a bad place to watch basketball because there's never really good
unless
teams
the Cats play there.
unless the Cats are in town. But seriously, this last year in year one of Pat Kelsey, the attendance per home game was 14,864. Now that is the tickets sold. The actual scanned tickets attendance was a little over 11,000 compared to Rupp Arena last year, which was 20,000. It was actually 20,344 was the average home attendance last year. So
there it is.
To sit here and it's honestly a dumb conversation to have. I don't even think this should even be a conversation. But Sarah, just anyone that would like to have that conversation.
And Trey Mitchell disproved those comments as well. He went back and said, that's a lie.
That's not true. And then he proceeded to say L's down. But taking the rivalry and us making fun of Louisville fans or them trying to do the same to us, which would be tougher to do. But you know what I mean? Taking that out of it, I think this is the most challenging game for us in the non-conference. And I just think we're not going to be sure about the health of JQ. We'll need a big Brandon Garrison game that game, which I think we'll get because we know he's the type of guy that's going to show up in a
rivalries.
We'll need it. We're going to need a big game from BG. JQ, we're not sure about the health from him. It's early in the season. We're not going to be fully dialed in. We don't fully know what we're going to be looking like yet. Obviously, they'll be same for Louisville, but sometimes a team, maybe they get the best of us in November and we beat them by 35 in March. That stuff can happen. It's on the road. I know that this is a true road game that's going to feel like the best case scenario for Louisville's neutral site. It's not going to be a home game, but still, technically, by the letter of the law, it is a true road game for the Cats. And I think Louisville's going to be good, Carson. I do think that in Louisville fans, if you're here, let us know in the comments on this question. There's a lot of concern folks have with overdoing it in the backcourt and how is the front court going to match up to the backcourt. The backcourt's going to be pretty darn good. I think we all agree on that. But how good is the front court going to be? That's where the concern is because Kentucky's going to have a damn good front court and a really good backcourt. So there's going to be no weaknesses. But, I kind of want to hear, is that a concern? But I think this is going to be a tough game to win, Carson. If I was picking right now, I would take Kentucky to win. I think that there's a tougher game. There's tougher games matchup-wise. Like you said, St. John's a great example. But there's a lot on the line in this game. And Pat Kelsey and Louisville wants this one really, really, really bad. They don't want to start their tenure 0-2 against Kentucky.
Oh yeah, they always want it really, really bad, and they're always the off-season champions every year. So we will have to see how that comes to fruition. They really do have concerns at big, right? Ali Khalifa, we don't know what's going to happen there, and I just don't think the bigs that they have on their roster are that great. Yeah. So that's a big question mark for them, as well as the health of Jaden Quaintance. So that's also a question mark for us. So it'll be a really good game. But I think the St. John's game, that there's so much into that game. I'm super, super excited for that one.
I'm with you. The last thing I'll say about the Louisville game, and did you see of that guy you're talking about, Frew? They talked about they said some kind of comment like the most versatile big man in the country and proceeded to post a 1.5-minute clip of him dunking.
Just dunking everything.
And I was like,
off a pass. It was off a pass.
Off a pass, just a wide open dunk. And I was just like, are you serious? Okay. But, there's, like I said, Carson.
It's as versatile as Andrew's food selection. Cheeseburgers and pizza.
Hey, every once in a while, perhaps a carrot here and there. Just
hey, to help your eyesight.
And that's why I wear contacts. But
that's why mom doesn't eat carrots.
Oh. It's true. It's a good point. But there's some other tough games here, Carson. What is the next one that you're kind of looking at? You're kind of marking down on the calendar going, that's going to be a tough one for the Cats.
Well, this second one for me is a tough one, but also a super fun one. I like Gonzaga down in Nashville because I think it's going to be a home game, but I think the Zags are tough this year. They got EK back, and they got some good roster retention. They added Adam Miller. He's a sniper. I like the Zags, and I think that game's going to be super fun and super tough.
I'll tell you what. Obviously, EK, man, Kentucky, that dude, he does not
He whooped us. He whooped us last year.
I watched that game over again. I do this a lot in the offseason when I'm bored. basketball. And I rewatched that entire Gonzaga game, and I was like, how did we just win? How did we win this game?
Yeah, it's because Jax became PG1 in the second half is how we won.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying the way Ike played, man. I mean, it was everything he released went in. There were some shots like, I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, how'd that go in? He's good. But I think that we also have some ulterior motives here because we're excited about this game because it will be a evening weekend in Nashville for the fellas, which is always exciting stuff. You know, a Friday in December in Nashville will be rowdy at that one. But Gonzaga is going to be good. They got a good coach. They got a good big man, a veteran big man, and they've got a good roster around them. They've got shooting. They've got guard play. They're going to be a good basketball team this year. I mean, a lot of, and we'll talk about Michigan State and Indiana. These are going to be teams I project are in that, kind of 15 to 35 range when you look at the top teams of college basketball, like in that range. But they're good basketball teams. And I think Gonzaga is going to have a really good season. And, also I think Michigan State is going to be good, Carson. I mean, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, no, I like it. And, Izzo is always Izzo. Mm-hmm. And Cohen Carr is probably the most athletic player in college basketball.
Yeah.
So him coming back for them is going to be huge. I like the Spartans, and you can never count out Izzo. He's a grinder.
Yeah, I agree. Izzo is a – Boone just went crazy downstairs. I think Connor riled him up. That was like the weirdest noise ever. But, yeah, I mean, I think that Michigan State's always a tough matchup. I mean, they were – was it Elite Eight last year? It was Elite Eight last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were an Elite Eight team, obviously, and it's Izzo. He's he's an elite coach in this game, and it's going to be a tough game always. It's always tough against Coach Izzo, and of course, this one is coming up in November. That one is November 18th, so that's going to be a tough kind of few days because you play Louisville on the 11th, and you play a week later. The following Tuesday, you play Michigan State. It's going to be a tough.
Where is that Michigan State game at?
It's in MSG, I believe.
That's what I thought. So that's going to be a big travel week too. So yeah, that'll be a tough week.
Yeah. So hopefully they don't. I bet they won't schedule a game for that weekend.
Yeah, I hope not. That'd be good for us.
Yeah. But I'd like to go to. I'd like to go to one of those. I'll probably go to both of them. Maybe, I don't know. But what about Indiana, Carson, with the new coaching staff over there coming over from West Virginia? Do you have any concerns about Indiana? I mean, do you think they're going to be a tough squad? What's your thought?
I'm not really buying into the Indiana thing until I see it, right? I mean, we've been hearing Indiana for the last couple of years, and nothing has came. They've been dead for the last couple of years. And you saw the other day, I wanted to mention this. I saw it in Scotland. How about them hiring Sam Houston State's coach that coached Lamar Wilkerson? So maybe there was a little more to that. Oh, I just picked them. I didn't want to be the guy. I want to be the guy. Whatever. They hired your coach. So no, I don't buy into Indiana. They're done. They're done.
Yeah. Their coach, DeVries, I mean, he was pretty solid at West Virginia. They were a team that I think they got a little bit hosed on the getting left out of the tournament and all that. But at the end of the day, I think that they're going to be a good basketball team in year one. I think they're going to be one of those teams that back into the tournament type of team, but I don't think that they're going to be.
Well, their fans want Indiana back, and that's not going to happen.
You know who else does? Nebraska football.
Yeah, that's Indiana and Nebraska are like the same.
Yeah, I mean, during the Reagan administration, they were damn good, but it's been a while. It's been a while, obviously. So, and yeah, Indiana. I mean, I just don't think this is a game that the Cats are going to struggle at home. I just don't. In December, probably have a healthy JQ back at that point. Mid-December, I just don't think this is a game the Cats struggle. I think that's of these games that if I had to rank them of those games, and I'll actually ask you to do this here in a second as well, Carson. If I had to rank the challenge, easiest to toughest, I'd probably go easiest Indiana. I'd then go. I think this is tough because I think Michigan State and Gonzaga are right here, and I think St. John's and Louisville are right here, not talent-wise for Louisville and St. John's. I think the fact that it's just a road game and they're going to want it bad, and you know what I mean? But I'm going to just give a hair to that Louisville game just because of the circumstances of a road rivalry game. You can go ahead and add 10 points for them because that's just how rivalries work. They're more pumped up. It's just kind of how stuff goes. I mean, you can say the same when it's a home game for us in a rivalry game. When it's a good Rep Arena crowd, and so I'll probably edge that game a little bit, give it the edge a little bit, and then I'll go St. John's, and then I'm going to go Gonzaga, then Michigan State, then Indiana. But I think that Gonzaga-Michigan State's really close as well. So how would you rank those, Carson?
Yeah, I've got the St. John's at number one. I just think there's more into it, and St. John's just has a better team. I'm not – and then I would go Louisville, but I'm not completely bought in like other people on this Louisville team. I think they have a lot of question marks, and a lot of people view them as a top 10 roster, but I don't see that right now. So I'm going to go
by backcourt, but once again, that's not the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, also these transfers have to prove it at the same time. Like for both teams, I agree, but like you're telling me Kennesaw State, like that's where he's coming from. He's got Woolley, the guy that they love. He's coming from Kennesaw State. Michael Brown Jr. is a freshman. They've got to prove it, So it's a wait and see for me on Louisville. And then I got Gonzaga under that because I think they're a proven roster and they've got some guys, EK, right? And then I'm going Michigan State because the Izzo effect and Cohen Carr. And then I'm going IU at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm with you on that. And, actually to go back to that argument you just made about the roster and those transfers, it's tough to make that argument back for Kentucky. And you want to know why that is? Where are our guys coming from?
Exactly.
Florida, Arizona State,
Alabama,
Pitt. I mean, they're coming from Power 4 schools. Like they've done this before. And I think there's something to be said about that. You know what I mean? Last year, Lowe was playing against, Knipple and Flag instead of random people. I mean, random. Yeah. Obviously, it's Division I basketball. We know that, but we've seen this happen before, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen transfers come over that we believe the world in them, and then they just don't live up to the hype.
And we're not saying they can't. We're saying we need to see it.
I'm with you. So I guess my last question today, Carson, that I've got here is there's one game missing from here. And yes, I'm pretty sure that we still got a few more kind of random games to add. I don't think that, but the SEC ACC challenge has still not been finalized. And I want that game bad, Carson. The only two teams to lose, we were one of the only two teams to lose last year in that. SEC only lost 2 games. We one of them. I want to win this one bad. We have to assume it's going to be at home, like we said, because we played on the road last year. What opponent would you like it to be? Okay, it can't be Duke because we're just it's not going to be Duke. Okay, it can't be Duke. Who would you like?
That would have been my first pick.
I know that's why I clarified. Who would you like it to be, and who do you think it's going to be? And that can be the same. It can be the same if you want. But who would you like it to be? Who do you think it'll be?
I would like it to be North Carolina if we can't pick Duke because I want the name. All the other ACC teams don't have the name that Duke and North Carolina have. So I want the name brand. And I think Caleb Wilson won. So I would like that game. And I honestly think we might get that game. So I'm going to pick that we get that game too.
I'm going to agree with you on who I like, who I want it to be, which is North Carolina. But you know who I randomly think they're going to give us? Is Will Wade and NC State. I don't know why. I don't know why I have that suspicion, but NC State's looking pretty darn good. I mean, I think they'll be a top 25 team.
And Will Wade can coach.
And a lot of times you see this happen. We were while we were a Sweet 16 team, we were still technically like the 6th, 7th, 8th team in the SEC last year because of how darn good that conference was.
Yeah.
A lot of times if a team, they're going to give Florida and Auburn and those teams that were the best in Alabama, they're going to give those teams the Duke and North Carolinas. I feel that's just kind of what they seem to do, even though, I think that we're going to be us and Florida, I think are the 2 best teams in the SEC this year. I think Arkansas is going to be good. Obviously, we say that every year. I mean, I think that those teams, Bama and Auburn, especially they got their guards back. Like they're going to be good. But I think that it's different. I mean, I personally think Kentucky's the best team in the SEC. And I think there's a little gap, Florida. And then I think there's a little gap, Arkansas. And then I think there's a big gap to some of these next schools. And we'll talk more about that deeper in the offseason. But So I have a feeling they might give us NC State because they're going to go, well, we can give them not a huge name team like a Duke or a North Carolina, but a team that's going to be good. I can see they want to give Kentucky a good matchup. They don't want to give us a bad matchup.
100%.
And they Clemson back here, like you talked
about.
They
love to match us up against those teams that are underrated, but can come and beat you. Like Clemson last year is a great example of that. A good team,
exactly
but I mean, they don't have the name.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in full agreement with you on that one. But, I mean, that's kind of the non-conference slate right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a tough one. Those are, I mean, I bet our SEC, ACC challenge games top 25. We know that Louisville will be top 25. Michigan State probably. Gonzaga probably. St. John's for sure. Indiana, I'd say there's a chance that they're top 25. If they play well early in the year, I don't know who they play. I don't know who they're playing before, but there's a chance they're top 25. I mean, you're going to be playing some darn good games. And then obviously we know you'll be playing a lot of quad ones in top 25ers when you get into SEC play. But it's a darn good conference, a non-conference slate, Carson. And it's going to be a fun one. Some traveling, some close games, a lot of good games in Rupp. It's going to be a good non-conference slate for Mark Pope's team in year 2.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And a lot of wins on that schedule as well, in my opinion.
The thing too is I really think I'm not going to say we're going to go undefeated, but I don't think we lose as many games as we did last year in the non-conference.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, here's the difference about this team to last year's team is the floor is so much higher because of the talent and the depth you have on this roster. So I'm really, really excited about this team and this schedule because a lot of fun games. I'm glad Pope is buying all in against playing good teams, right? Yeah. I mean, I was sick and tired of playing against D2 teams all the time.
I'm with you. But, I mean, I'll tell you this. We lost 2 non-conference games last year. We lost 2 – well, I mean, in, non-conference play. We lost to Clemson and we lost to Ohio State. I don't think we have 2 non-conference losses this year. No. I just don't. I think we lose one of those games we talked about. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's St. John's. Hope it's not Louisville. Dear gosh, please don't be Louisville.
Yeah.
It could be Michigan. Any of those teams could get us, But I don't think we lose 2. I really don't. And because we're playing a lot of those fringe 15 to 25 teams that are good, but they're not better than we are. St. John's the only team that's probably better than we are. So
if you can make that argument too.
Yes, you could. I mean, I'm just saying on paper, they're going to say they're better than we are. And I mean, it's like they said on Field of 68 the other day. You can't have a preseason number 1 conversation and not include Kentucky in the discussion.
Yeah,
Kentucky, and this will be a fun year of college basketball too, Carson, because I think there's a lot of teams that can be in that conversation. I think there's 12 teams that can be in that conversation, and you haven't seen that in a long time. Normally there's that one clear-cut team. It's a fun conversation this year, and I don't know if it's been like that for a while. So
I agree. It's the new NIL era where all the rosters can be great.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you, Carson. Any other thoughts before we call it a day?
That's all I got. It was great to get back here and do the show. I was missing it so much. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, it's good to be back. We are back to normal here at the show, so we appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day today. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll be back at you as you're used to. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.